Hello, comrades. Hey, Americans, I got news for you. You know Kamala Harris? She's going to be your new president pretty soon. That's my prediction, and I'm pretty sure it's going to come true. You look at her face. She's gearing up for it. And then you're all going to be in shit. But hey, let's start at the beginning, shall we? Once upon a time in America. This is good show. I like this. This is reality TV for the rest of the world. Today in America falls to pieces. We had the inauguration of Joe Biden. Yes, that guy who can't string two words together because he didn't have proper education or he spent the better part of 3 decades trying to become president. He finally achieved it at age 170 whatever how old he is. So now we have old fart in power. Great, that's okay. We got a very ambitious black woman standing next to him who's ready to take over. Any second now, Biden's going to fall over, break a hip, she's going to pull 25th Amendment, and then she's going to come into power. Then she's going to hand all power over to women, all jobs are going to China, we're going to go to Paris Accord to make ourselves look good. That means we're going to have to hire the taxes to give America the idea that we're doing something, you know. Then America will be a much better place for people like that. See, only the rich can live in America pretty soon, because only the rich get their money from somewhere else. Because you won't get it from America because there won't be any jobs. Because of climate change, we had to give that to China. It's all smoke and mirrors, you see. You move smoke to China, you put a mirror into the United States, and it looks like we have good environment and did everything correctly. This is all bullshit, but hey, this is how these people go. I told you that Democrats would ruin America, and it has already started. Step one was get rid of Trump. Actually, step one was make sure Trump doesn't come into power, but they fucked that one up. They underestimated it. They underestimated what the people want because they use companies like Google to try and skew the numbers. That's why company Google was crying so loudly when Trump came into power because they did everything they could not to bring him in power. But he came in power anyway. Democracy. Step 1.5, get Trump out of power. Okay, we finally did it through some colluding, this time not Russian, but hey, okay. So Trump is gone, Biden is in. Biden, even older than Trump, looks like he's about to keel over any second. Can't string 3 words together, but all good. So, in his inauguration speech, he's talking about unity in a way that only a communist dictator can.
Enough of us have come together to carry all of us forward. And we can do that now. History, faith, and reason show the way of unity. We can see each other not as adversaries, but as neighbors. We can treat each other with dignity and respect. We can join forces, stop the shouting, and lower the temperature. For without unity, there is no peace, only bitterness and fury. No progress, only exhausting outrage. No nation, only a state of chaos. This is our historic moment of crisis and challenge, and unity is the path forward.
All communist dictators love unity. Of course they do. They want all people under one little roof. Yes, all doing the same thing, wearing the same thing, and all having the same haircut. You know, 1984 sort of scenario. He was talking about unity, blah, 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 whole lot of bullshit. Nobody ever remembers these inauguration speeches because they don't live up to their promises. They never do. You name me a politician who kept the promises once they were in power. Nobody. Maybe 1 or 2 promises, but not all the promises. That's just too much work. So, he's finally in power and he can put Plan 2 into place. Undo everything that previous leader put into place. Specifically all the positive points. Step 2.2, go back into climate change accord with Paris. Bunch of rich people deciding how to screw their own people over.
That many of my fellow Americans view the future with fear and trepidation. I understand they worry about their jobs. I understand, like my dad, they lay in bed at night, staring at the ceiling, wondering, can I keep my health care? Can I pay my mortgage? Thinking about their families, about what comes next. I promise you, I get it. But the answer is not to turn inward, to retreat into competing factions, distrusting those who don't look like you, or worship the way you do, or don't get their news from the same sources you do. We must end this uncivil war that pits red against blue, rural versus urban, or rural versus urban, conservative versus liberal. We can do this.
Step 2.3, we tell everybody to wear masks because we have to look after COVID. And this is all for step 2.4 because that's where we open all the borders and let all the foreigners in. And don't be surprised, America, if the foreigners get free healthcare while you still have to suffer. This will happen. You watch.
Well, we've got some exclusive reporting for you tonight. In Joe Biden's first day in office, the Department of Homeland Security issued a sweeping directive calling for a 100-day pause on deportations. We reported that last night. We now have an internal email sent yesterday to ICE officers in Texas that shows how this order was enacted. And we're quoting, "As of midnight tonight, stop all removals. This includes Mexican bus runs, charter flights, and commercial removals until further notice. All cases are to be considered no significant likelihood of removal in foreseeable future." In other words, stop sending people here illegally back to the country of origin. The official goes on to say this, and we're quoting, "Release them all immediately. No sponsor available is not acceptable any longer." The official notes in the email that he is just, quote, the messenger explaining the directive. It wasn't his idea, it was Joe Biden's. Now, this email was news to us. Friday's memorandum from the Biden administration to halt deportations did not call for people here illegally to be released from detention. We made some calls today and we learned that Homeland Security is currently hammering out how to enact the memorandum. It does not specifically call for the instant release of all migrants in detention. So what was this memo about? Just the result of the complete chaos that resulted when the incoming administration on its first day changed a policy this big without explaining what it means. Chaos. Well, we thought the last administration had a monopoly on that. Apparently not.
Then they sign all these little bills and tell all we must be respectful to one another, no more arguing. That means, do as I say, agree with it or fuck off. Simple as that. Now we just have to wait for Biden to fall over and shower, break a hip, then they can pull the 25th Amendment, put Kamala in charge, and then the shit will hit the fan. Yes? So Kamala Harris will come in charge after Biden had slipped and showered, and this is when everything goes downhill. It really will. Because that woman comes into power, I can just see what's going to happen. She's not going to give two shits about people. All the hard-working people who built that country up to where it is today, they'll all be shafted. The country's going to go downhill. You watch. It's going to be brilliant. Epic failure. And Democrats will do this. I already said it. Democrats will destroy that country, and here it goes. No matter how they talk about unity, no matter how they talk about working for the country, they're only in it for their own egos. And that bitch definitely is in it for her own ego. So as good as a year as 2020 was, 2021 is shaping up to be an even bigger shitfest. And I think the next 4 years are going to be absolutely disastrous, especially for America.
We could afford to take in a heartbeat another 2 million people. The idea that a country of 330 million people cannot absorb people who are in desperate need and who are justifiably fleeing oppression is absolutely bizarre. Absolutely bizarre. I would also move to increase the total number of immigrants able to come to the United States.
How many of those immigrants will be staying at Joe Biden's house at Joe Biden's expense? Zero, of course. But Biden's view is that our chief mission as a nation is to admit as many poor people as we possibly can. The less impressive their country of origin, the less they're able to contribute to this country, the more we want them.
We still got COVID to deal with, and then American economy is going to take big crash in about a year or two.
We're not a rich country. We're more than $20 trillion in debt. Our middle class is dying, in part because immigrants willing to work for less have driven down wages. It doesn't make the immigrants bad. They're coming from incredibly poor places with totally different standards of living. But it's an economic fact that when you flood the labor pool with people willing to work for less, wages go down.
we got a black woman going to take power, we got some pretty big points. So if you thought 2020 was a bag of shit, wait until you see 2021 and its long-awaited sequel, 2022.
For example, many of our cities are starting to fail. Infrastructure is aging. Both crime and the cost of living are surging, and left-wing prosecutors have stopped enforcing the law.
I'm going to love these couple of years. There's going to be so much footage that I can use for these videos that I might be very big star in 4 years. Anyway, we'll see where America goes, because that's going to be our reality TV for a couple of years. I'm going to keep close eye on America because, hey, we don't have a problem with that. It's shoved down our throats anyway. Good luck, America. Have a good time.
But, none of this matters because for people like Joe Biden and the rest of this country's ruling class, helping American citizens stopped being the point a long time ago. The point is getting reelected and feeling virtuous.